The Democrats might be looking to rebrand themselves for the next election cycle. Here's California Governor Gavin Newsom's monologue on their 2024 loss.
We lost. We lost the popular vote and we lost the electoral vote. We got crushed. And we need to be humble about that, and we need to have some grace, and we need to understand why. Was it because of the incumbency penalty? Was it because of inflation? Was it because of interest rates? Was it because of immigration? Was it because we were too, quote unquote, woke? Was it because of the issues with Israel? Was it all of the above? I think we are going through that forensic. We need to understand it. At the same time, we also have to push back against the whitewaters and headwinds of the Trump administration.
But are Democrats like Newsom really trying to turn over a new leaf? For more, let's go ahead and bring in BlazeTV host Liz Wheeler. So Liz, it's so good to see you tonight. But my question for you, first to kick this off, are Democrats even capable of this kind of self-reflection that Gavin Newsom is trying to gaslight us into right here?
No, of course not. Gavin Newsom not only shares a hairstyle with Andy Garcia, he shares the identity that Andy Garcia often portrays on screen, which is a villain. Gavin Newsom, we just launched a new mini series within the Liz Wheeler show called Gavin Newsom versus Gavin Newsom, because I have never seen in my entire career in media someone who wants to be president more than Gavin Newsom does. And I include in that list Hillary Clinton. Gavin Newsom wants to be president so badly that he will lie blatantly, aggressively to your face. And that's exactly what he's doing. He launched a podcast with one purpose. His purpose is to build up a library of sound bites so that when he launches his presidential campaign, he can say, hey, I'm a centrist. I'm in the middle. I'm common sense. I'm not woke. Listen, I'm on camera saying that I don't believe it's fair if men play in girls' sports. And he's doing this deliberately. He's engaging with people on the right in order to build up this library of content. However, actions speak louder than words, and Gavin Newsom's actions since he's been governor of California since 2019 show that he's not only left, he's not only woke, he is a radical leftist to the nth degree. I mean, in the state of California, while he claims he doesn't think it's fair for girls to be in boys or for boys to be in girls' sports, he has made California a transgender sanctuary state. He allows children who, quote unquote, identify as trans to come there and be trans against the wishes of their parents. He has allowed transgenderism to be put in public school curriculums. His education department prohibits schools from creating policies that require teachers and administrators to tell parents if their kids are being transed at school. This man is on a deliberate whitewashing PR stunt, and conservatives honestly shouldn't just laugh and shake their heads. He is a very effective actor, and if we don't call him out as he conducts this campaign, I fear that he actually will be successful in convincing some people in the center that he is also on the center.
Liz, I think you're exactly right in describing Governor Newsom as similar to Andy Garcia's characters he plays in movies, with the exception being that Andy Garcia is a celebrity because he is actually likable. And Greasy Gavin is not, at least if you know who he is. So I think you have a point there. On the other hand, I agree with you, and I've said this for a while, that he is far more dangerous than people on the right want to give him credit for. They dismiss, oh, he's from California, et cetera. He is a chameleon, and he shamelessly lies. He has no problem lying like a psychopath. And I think that makes him dangerous. And, I wonder what you think about other Democrats and whether they would get behind him. Recently we have Representative Jasmine Crockett. Excuse me, I have a rule usually not to fathom the mind of retards and or psychopaths because you can't really find any rationale there, and there's no there. But we do need to do this because she's sort of a bellwether, right? She represents where people are at. So she seems to say that Newsom is prepping for 2028. I don't know if you've seen this, but here's her not so subtle prediction for the future Democratic nominee.
It is this fear that the people within the party, within the primary system, will have about voting for a woman, because every time we voted for a woman, we've lost so far. And I think that that's a natural fear because we just want to win. So there's a lot of people that are like, you know what? Like, let's go find the safest white boy we can find. I mean, I'm just saying.
Those are the callers that we're hearing. We're hearing people.
No, for real.
A white man's got to do it. We're getting those callers.
For real. And to be clear, when we talk about them, I can tell you that there is one specific candidate. I had a donor. on the phones with me telling me that all the donors are lining up behind that candidate. So I can tell you it's not a black person nor woman, okay? So like it is, they have, quote unquote, they have chosen.
So what does that tell us? I mean, what do you think Crockett is trying to do by calling this out? And what does that tell us about where the Democratic Party is right now?
First of all, I'm extremely grateful for Congresswoman Crockett for opening her mouth every time she opens her mouth. And while it's easy to make fun of her, I would actually caution conservatives not to dismiss her because she reveals a lot of their strategy in her next gen AOC type of rhetoric, talking about what they're going to do. Tim Walz actually recently also said the same thing. He said that he was picked by Kamala Harris to be vice presidential running mate because he was a white man, that he gave permission for white men to vote, white men to vote Democrat, or some ridiculous racist comment. We know the Democrats are racist. Go ahead and keep telling people that you're racist because people don't like that. The American people are not racist at heart. And the more that the Democrats admit that the Democrats are racist, the less the American people are going to want to vote for them. Gavin Newsom is going to be the nominee in 2028. That's my prediction as of now. Things could also change, but given where the different contenders are, who's going to beat him? Kamala Harris? It's funny to me, too, that Jasmine Crockett says that, it's the Democrat electorate or the American people don't want to vote for a woman. We saw what happened the last 2 times we had female candidates. Maybe, just maybe, the problem was the particular females that you chose and not that the American people are somehow innately sexist. But of course, this is one of the fundamental flaws of the Democrats that have lost them so much support. The American people don't like being told that they are falsely accused of being what they're not. They don't like being accused of being racist, and they don't like being accused of being sexist because by and large, they are not. But the Democrats keep falsely accusing them of being so.
Well, let's shift our eyes to the Trump administration because there's a lot of people online that are accusing Casey Means of being one thing or another. RFK Jr., though, just came out and dropped a pretty fire post for his Surgeon General pick, of course, being Casey Means. So he goes through and says that her biggest qualification is that she left the system and now she's trying to lead the charge to fix it. So is she the right person for the job?
100%. I don't think that there was anybody in this country when President Trump nominated Dr. Casey Means for Surgeon General who screamed with excitement louder than I did. Listen, there's never going to be a perfect politician or a perfect appointee. And so the way that I analyze whether, especially people in the MAHA movement, because the MAHA movement has recently been married to the MAGA movement. We don't always have all of the same political ideology or religious practice. And that's okay if we share common goals, or common MAHA goals. But the way that I analyze these nominees, and Casey Means specifically, is she a net positive to the movement? Is she more right than she is wrong? And does she get what the MAHA movement is all about? And starting with that last question, does she get it? This woman was top of her class at Stanford. She was in a residency to be a surgeon, which of course is very difficult to do, when she realized that her patients weren't getting better. She left the traditional medical system in order to dedicate her life to talking about the chronic disease epidemic, and not just whining and crying and ranting, but saying, hey, there's a way that you actually can be healed. She identified the root causes of what goes into a lot of, whether it's autism or autoimmune diseases or cancer rates or whatever these diseases are that so many people are suffering from. And she said, listen, these are metabolic diseases. It's big food and big pharma and the corruption therein. And she has done more, Jill, than anybody else I can think of. She broke through the mainstream media wall. She broke through pop culture, just clearly and factually, accurately articulating something that's very difficult to tell people, which is that something we are doing is causing us to have a health crisis, and we are going to have to radically change our own habits, not just government policies, in order to rectify this. That is a very difficult thing to communicate to people in a way that is going to make people listen. And she's done this successfully. That's the primary role of the Surgeon General. And to have someone in that role who really gets the MAHA movement and isn't worried about, the dollars that they make or the reputational smears that they're going to incur. This is one of the most exciting things that RFK Jr. has to look forward to, and one of the best appointments that President Trump has made.
So given all that, Liz, what do you make of the controversy or some of the people arguing about this online?
Yeah, there's a few different people who are going after this. There's Laura Loomer, who, by the way, I have great respect for her reporting. I always take seriously her vetting, her executive level vetting reports that she releases. She's done really good work exposing some people infiltrating the Trump administration, and I will continue to respect her work and take her reports seriously. But what I mean when I say that is I analyze for myself whether her information that she's revealing about these people is important to whether they should be in their positions. And in this case, Laura Loomer reported that Dr. Casey Means doesn't have a medical license actively anymore. Well, that's not really a scandal. I mean, her whole story is that she left the traditional medical world. She wrote a book about it. So that's not super serious. And then the other accusation is that on her medical license, her name was Paula Means, not Casey Means. Well, my best friend's name is Catherine Rose, but we have always called her Rose. I've never heard anyone call her Catherine, but on her nursing license, it says Catherine because that's what the medical boards require you to do. So that's not really that scandalous. I understand and relate to. I mean, I empathize with Laura Loomer. She wanted a job with the Trump administration doing this kind of vetting inside the Trump administration. She says herself she's been denied that position 4 times because of staff impeding her after President Trump's offered her that job. So what she's doing now is she's just trying to levy her influence and show President Trump that she's still influential, even though his staff is subverting him. And, you know, one of the things I respect about her is she's a pit bull, but that also means she doesn't know when to loose her bite. So I respectfully disagree pretty strongly with her on this. Nicole Shanahan also, that's RFK's former vice presidential running mate, has disagreed with this pick. She had a pretty strong post on X about it, saying that it was the wrong pick, saying she felt betrayed by RFK. And then the next day, Glenn Beck interviewed her on his radio show and asked her, you know, why don't you support Casey Means? Why are you opposed to her? And, you know, she didn't seem to have a lot of substantiation for her reasoning. I'm actually going to be interviewing her on the Liz Wheeler show tomorrow. We're going to go live at 1 p.m. on YouTube, on BlazeTV, on X. And we're going to talk about it in a little bit more depth because I want to make sure that we are analyzing these nominations through the correct lens. I don't want the MAHA movement. I don't want, you know, the fellow moms and, you know, the American people who care about this so deeply to be swayed, you know, by whatever it might be, personal drama, career ambitions, whatever it is. I want us to be able to look at this person and say, does she get it? Does she get the MAHA movement? Is she a net positive to the movement? Is she going to do her job in a way that's going to protect Americans' health and empower Americans with medical freedom? And I don't want the American people to get distracted by attacks against her if those attacks aren't substantiated. I'm the first one to say, if you've got a case against her, let me know. But so far, I have not seen a good case against her.
Well, Liz, I think you have it exactly right. And we've been saying on this show, having a great debate over confirmation, you know, people who are put up there and as nominees is healthy as long as the standard is exactly what you said. Does this help the movement moving forward? And I think we should be able to have these discussions in an open, you know, free and honest way. In a way that just moves the movement forward, because I think what everyone is legitimately concerned about is we suffered through too many grifters over time, right? So it's okay to question as long as we do it boldly in public.
That's going to be must-see TV tomorrow. Liz and Nicole, very smart, very happy to have both of them here on Blaze TV. Liz, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks, Matt.